30 years ago, Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park brought dinosaurs back to life in a perfect mix of practical and groundbreaking digital special effects. Jurassic Park fever took hold in the early 90s. The book, The Making of Jurassic Park, inspired many filmmakers. I read this over and over, cover to cover. In this series, I'll be taking you to the exotic Hawaiian film locations that featured in this book and in the movie. It was an adventure of a lifetime that I never thought I'd be able to do. But in true Jurassic Park style, life found a way.
So this morning we're going to a very special location, and that location is only accessible via helicopter.
The rotors started to roar and we thundered into the air from Lahui Airport in Kauai. Within moments I spotted the first Jurassic Park filming location. It was the pier that was used in the storm scene in Jurassic Park. The footage was shot by Dean Cundy and Steven Spielberg during Hurricane Iniki in 1992.
Steven, Dean, and a small camera crew head out to the beach to capture the hurricane on film.
Off to the left I quickly identified another location. This was the beach location that was used in the sequel to Jurassic Park, The Lost World.
Come see this! I found something!
There it is.
Then, the moment I've been waiting for 30 years. John Williams' epic score blasted in my ears. My adrenaline kicked in as we gracefully navigated the jungle canyons and the treetops at the hands of our skilled pilot Brody. He announced, "Welcome to Jurassic Park." We had arrived at Jurassic Falls. You actually land a short walking distance from the base of the falls, as the helipad that was created for the movie has since been destroyed. The walk to the falls is instantly recognisable as the road the Jurassic Park jeeps travel along, having left the helipad.
So we have landed and we're just walking up to the falls now.
Manawaiopuna Falls are 122 metres in height. The falls are located on the southwest side of Kauai and are privately owned by the Robinson family, who also own a private island off the coast of Kauai. Due to the private ownership of the falls, they've only been accessible by helicopter since 2009, and currently the only way you can get to the location is via island helicopters. I think it's incredible that 30 years later you can still see the original footing of the helipad. And as you scan the rocks, you can see some of the remains of the actual helipad itself. It is believed by locals that the pad was destroyed completely when Hurricane Iniki struck in 1992. Production designer Rick Carter said as challenging as it was to construct the helipad at the location, he felt it was the perfect entrance to Isla Nublar. It was surreal to stand at the foot of the falls clutching my original Jurassic Park cinema ticket. Our pilot Brody was super passionate about the movies and had grown up in Kauai as the movies were being made. Brody had worked on some of the Jurassic movies and was so enthusiastic and genuinely excited to see my original cinema tickets and my 35mm film cuttings. I said to Brody, for me, it wasn't about the dinosaurs, not that there's anything wrong with that at all. It was about the filmmaking. It was about being transported to another world at a point in my childhood where perhaps I needed it the most. Ultimately, it started my lifelong obsession with becoming a filmmaker. As we climbed back into the helicopter, I felt a little bit like John Hammond at the end of the movie. I was being prized away from the island, not knowing when I'd ever return. We roared into the sky in an exhilarating climb out of the jungle. Brody announced to the passengers that they had a serious Jurassic Park fan on board. I thought, great, another. No, of course, he was referring to me. He wanted to divert from the planned flight to show us some other Jurassic Park filming locations. Everyone was really happy and clapped, which was music to my ears. We soared on above Olokili Canyon. I'm sorry if I've got the pronunciation wrong there, I'm trying my best. This is the filming location for the electric fence scene, where Alan, Lex and Tim are seen climbing up the side of the electric fence. They believe it to be deactivated, then the power's restored and they scramble to the ground before getting electrocuted.
That's not funny. That was great.
In a future episode, we visit the adjacent Waimea Canyon from the ground and try and line up some of the shots. You can actually fly to this filming location via helicopter, and if I am ever lucky enough to return to Kauai, this is definitely something I'd consider doing. Now we flew directly above the Waimea Canyon, making our way out towards the Nepali coast. During commentary, we found out that the original screen-used helicopter is owned by the Robinson family, the same family that owned the falls. Brady said how cool it would be to have the original screen-used helicopter on display at Island Helicopters. I have since done my own research and found out that the original screen-used helicopter was involved in an incident back in 2001 and it crashed. Everyone was fine, but the helicopter was a write-off. If they ever managed to get hold of the original screen-used helicopter, I think that would look pretty awesome on display, especially before heading off to the Jurassic Falls. The Nepali coastline spans 17 miles along the north shore of Kauai. It's a unique place full of razor-sharp cliff ridges towering above the deep blue Pacific Ocean, isolated beaches, waterfalls. It felt untouched and it felt prehistoric. It's featured in many Hollywood films. I would imagine that this coastline didn't look too dissimilar when the Polynesians arrived all that time ago. The Nepali coast is home to what is considered one of the world's most dangerous hikes, the Kalaluau Trail. We had the opportunity to explore some of this trail and it was absolutely stunning. As the adventure neared its end, we headed to the heart of the island, Mount Waia'ali'ali. It's a shield volcano and it stands at 1,569 meters high, and it's also known as one of the wettest places on the planet. I'm not necessarily a spiritual person, but something changed in me when I visited this place. As we were gracefully flown within what felt like inches of the mountain walls, I felt an inner calm. At the foot of the mountain were the locations used for the T-Rex paddock and the Jurassic Park gates. We also hiked to these locations in episode 1. Our final location was Kahili Ranch. I recognised the lagoon straight away from the Brachiosaurus scene. This was the first time the audience experienced a living, breathing dinosaur. This was the moment where I, and I'm sure many others, fell in love with filmmaking. So many Jurassic movies were shot at this ranch, including this scene from Jurassic World.
What happened here?
I'll speak more about this ranch in a future episode.
Dude.
As this episode of 30 Years in the Making draws to a close, I reflect back on an adventure that's provided me memories that will last me for the rest of my days. Whether that was landing at Jurassic Falls, flying over the Waimea Canyon, flying high above the Nepali coast, looking down at the blue Pacific Ocean, all memories that will just stay with me forever. I think the most prominent memory will be flying into the heart of Kauai. That was an experience that I wasn't expecting, and cameras do not do it justice. So on that note, we will move on to another Jurassic Park filming location and another episode. Thank you for watching.